back, and so is this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, where Goku in last week's episode was seemingly killed by Hit, the greatest assassin from Universe 6. Goku is dead. Or is he? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I really didn't care for this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. I did like the fact that there was a big twist behind it and getting to learn who actually hired Hit to assassinate Goku, but there were just a few moments in this episode that made me go, what the hell is going on? So first and foremost, Goku in the end of last week's episode is dead. He's deader than shit. I mean, like, he was punched right in the heart, his eyes basically rolled back into his giant Saiyan forehead, and that was pretty much it for everybody's favorite orange-clad hero. That is until we learned that he actually planned for this to happen, and if you guys remember at the end of last week's episode when Hit punched him, he fired this ki blast into the sky, and he was planning on that ki blast coming back down and smacking him right in the body, basically kick-starting his heart and acting like some sort of giant defibrillator. That's right. Goku survives by hitting himself with his very own ki blast. It's so powerful the shock brings him back to life. This is ridiculous, in my humble opinion. I mean, I just don't think that Goku would have planned this so early on. I mean, we make fun of Goku a lot of the time for being kind of dense, maybe even being a crappy father at times, but I just don't see him planning ahead like this. And at the beginning of the episode, it doesn't make that much sense. By the end of the episode, it starts to make a little bit more sense, but it just didn't appeal to me all that much. So, Goku is back, and he's getting ready to fight against Hit again, and they have another big epic battle, which is okay to say the least. I think the coolest thing is that Hit is displaying some brand new techniques where essentially he is using his time-skipping ability to create this alternate parallel dimension that he can exist in. You can actually still see him, but you can't attack him because he's actually hanging out in this parallel dimension. So Goku is throwing everything at him. Kicks, punches, signature techniques, and they all manage to go right through Hit every single time. And basically, he's able to defeat him by powering up and hitting him with a Kamehameha blast. And that's basically how the actual episode comes to an end. We finally got to learn who it was who actually decided to put a hit out on Goku, and hilariously enough, it was Goku himself. This was all a part of his training, but the thing is, Goku could not get caught when he was doing this, so he had to have a proxy do it for him, so he asked Whis, who then asked Vados, and since Vados is from Universe 6, she decided to ask Hit to assassinate Goku. Now, this all starts to make sense because if you guys remember in the last episode, Goku was anticipating Hit the entire time, and that's because he knew that he was hired to kill him. He knew the entire time, and that makes that episode make like 20 times more sense now, so I actually do like that aspect of the episode. But there's still a couple more things about this episode that irk me. That being that there were moments where the animation and artwork looked really cool, and then there were moments where it looked really bad. We're talking like Dragon Ball Super Episode 5 bad. Disproportionate faces, bodies, weird character movements, attacks that just didn't feel like they had a lot of impact behind them. This was just not that exciting of an episode for me. I mean, there's really nothing in this episode that you haven't seen from any previous episodes of Dragon Ball Super, or even, dare I say it, Dragon Ball GT. And I don't want to be a freaking negative Nancy for the entire frigging review, but that's just the way I felt about this episode. It just didn't blow me away all that much. I will say that it was important training for Goku, and it shows how far he's come since his initial battle with Hit. The fact that not only is he able to get around his parallel dimension, but I was just sort of hoping he would do something a little more unique to actually break away from that. By just simply powering up and using a Kamehameha blast, it just really wasn't all that impressive to me. And at the end of the day, I see this as basically just another filler episode of Dragon Ball Super. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll take this over any of the previous episodes that we had. Although, I have to admit, I did kind of like the baseball episode. In fact, I liked the baseball episode a lot more than this one right here. Something about this one just irked me the wrong way, and, you know, if they'd have let us know that this arc wasn't going to be so serious beforehand, and just, you know, said, hey, this is just going to be a fun little 2-episode training arc. But then again, they couldn't do that either, because there was the whole mystery of Goku being killed, and we wanted to learn why that was going to go down, and honestly, it wasn't that shocking. Like I said, if Goku hadn't already have died a couple times before, this would have been a more shocking moment. And the fact that the preview completely gave it away, there really wasn't, like, that much tension from this one right here. But there were still certainly some cool moments, which at least makes this a watchable episode of Dragon Ball Super. So, what's the final rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? Meh! It's okay. Basically, that's what I get from this whole episode. It was just a big meh. However, there were a lot of things that I did like about it. I liked a lot of the movement in the episode. There were some scenes of Goku moving around that were super swift, super fast, and honestly got me very pumped up. I love the scene where he's running on the rocks as they're falling in the air, getting right up in Hit's face, and freaking pulling a Nagisa Shiota. What I mean is, it's like kind of a veiled reference to Assassination Classroom where he gets right up in Hit's face, and he basically just slaps his hand right in front of him to sort of distract him so that he can attack him. I thought that was a really cool moment. And Hit, honestly, is the best thing about these episodes. He's not just a badass-looking character, but he has some incredibly cool-looking techniques. I love the look of him actually, like, punching with his invisible ki blasts. That's basically what he's doing, is he's attacking from his alternate, unseen, parallel dimension. And there's a lot of scenes where it looks really cool, where you actually get to see the dimension cracking and ripping around him as Goku is powering up. So visually speaking, there are definitely some cool things about this episode, but there are also some animation and artwork choices which frankly just look terrible in this episode, in my opinion. Now, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm certain there's going to be a lot of folks out there who disagree with me and absolutely love this episode. And if you do, good for you. In fact, please tell me why in the comments section below. And that's the best thing about opinions. They're like assholes. Everyone has them. So please tell me your thoughts about this episode in the comments section below. For me personally, though, I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly disappointed by this episode right here. I mean, the twist of Goku hiring himself is honestly kind of cool in some senses, but the overall fight just didn't really do that much for me. Really, I think we're gonna have to wait until the next big arc starts, the big Universe Survival arc, which is gonna be starting on February 5th, 2017. That's where I think things are gonna really start to pick up. But for the most part, we're just gonna have to put up with a couple more filler episodes, and if you like the Great Saiyaman, then stay tuned for the next episode. He's going to be getting one dedicated all to him. That's right. The last episode of 2016 is going to be devoted to the Great Saiyaman. But it's still Dragon Ball. It's still incredibly watchable. There's still enough funny moments, especially towards the end with all the scenes with Vegeta promising Whis and Beerus that he's going to get them this special steak with Granny's secret sauce. Saying that out loud is freaking hilarious. So the comedy in the episode was pretty damn good. But honestly, the action, which is at its core like the cornerstone of Dragon Ball, just didn't really blow me away all that much. I mean, there are fight scenes in the original Dragon Ball that completely dwarf anything seen in this episode. Still, though, I think you should watch it at least once if you're a fan of the Dragon Ball series. So check out this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. That's my thoughts on this one. But like I said, I want to hear from you guys. I didn't really care for this one, but I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of Goku actually, like, healing himself and bringing himself back to life with the power of his very own ki blast, and the whole twist with him hiring himself? Do you think that was a really smart move, or was this just a really bad thing for Goku to do because he could have easily killed himself? And what do you hope to see from the upcoming Universal Survival arc? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment or two, and hell, if you liked this video, give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. Before I leave you guys today, I want to drop something kind of real on you. Something that's been kind of bothering me for like the last week, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that my reviews have been late. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I had Christmas over the weekend. I went up to my mom and dad's, and I got to see all my family, my cousins, my brother, his wife, the whole shebang, and we had a really great time. But it was also a really shocking time for me because I found out recently that my mother has been suffering from some very severe neurological, like, sicknesses. Which is to say is, in the last month, she started to lose a lot of feelings in her arms and in her legs, and it's made it so that she basically can't move anymore. She has to be wheelchaired around, and we had to take care of her all weekend, and it was really shocking for me because she didn't tell us anything about it, and that's because my mom didn't want me or my brother or my father to worry about it. And when we all saw it, it was kind of shocking. And honestly, this Christmas was really hard for me. It kind of rocked me to my core, to the point where it was very upsetting. And I had to take some time off because, one, I wanted to spend some time with my mother. And two, it was just important to just be with my family during that time. And it's still really hard. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to go through, to be perfectly honest. I've lost family members before. My grandmothers, my grandpas, both of them, they're all gone. And all I really have left are, like, my immediate family and some of my cousins. And there's nothing harder than having to watch a parent get sick and feeling powerless and not being able to help them. And it's just been a really tough time for me. And I'm not a super religious person or anything. I don't go to church on Sundays. I grew up in a Christian household, but my mother is incredibly religious. She is so devoted to God and her religion and her community. And she lights up so many people's life with her incredible personality, her perseverance, even during the things that she's going right now. Like, she can't even move. And she still manages to be just one of the most upbeat people that I've ever seen. And it's so inspiring, and it makes me want to be strong with her. And it's also made me realize that I'm getting to that age where my parents are starting to get a lot older. And I've kind of had the sudden realization in the last week that I only have so much time left with them. So for the next couple of months, there might be a few instances where videos might be coming out late, or they might be just not coming out at all. And a lot of that is because I really want to spend as much time with my parents as I can, so that I can just experience their love and be with them and have amazing moments with them. And, sorry, it's really hard. And, it's really hard to put into words, to be perfectly honest. And I want to be as strong as I can for my mother. That's the most important thing right now. And that's why I just want to ask you guys to just work with me right now, during this time. It's very difficult, and it's hard to escape it. It's something that I don't want to escape either. It's something that I want to face head on, because I want to be there for my mom and for my family. And I just ask that if you guys are out there and you're actually listening to this, just say a prayer for my mother, and most importantly, talk to your parents. Talk to them about everything. Tell them that you love them. Have good times with them. Spend time with them. And most importantly, just let them know how much you appreciate them and how much they have helped you in your life. It's so important to do that. And I'm so grateful to live in a family with so much love. We get along so well. A lot of people I know don't get along with their parents very well, but me and my mom and my dad, my brother and everything, like, we're all really, really tight. And this, like, Christmas has made me realize, like, how important that really is. Don't be alarmed if some videos don't appear for a couple of days. Check out our Twitter for all of our updates on things that are going on. And that's pretty much it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching all of these videos. I really appreciate it. So I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.